You've heard the usual warnings about narcissists. They're selfish, they lack empathy, they'll manipulate you, they'll gaslight you until you question your own reality. But there's something much darker beneath the surface, something most people never talk about. Something that once you see it will change the way you look at every narcissist you've ever known. And it's not what you think. The scariest thing about a narcissist isn't their grandiosity. It isn't their rage when you criticize them. It isn't even their ability to discard you like you never mattered. The scariest thing about a narcissist is that they don't actually exist. Let that sink in. Behind the mask, behind the performance, behind the carefully constructed image they project to the world, there is no real person there, just a void. An emptiness so profound that they spend their entire lives trying to fill it with your attention, your admiration, your pain, your energy. Anything to avoid facing the terrifying nothingness inside them. This isn't poetry. This is the core of what psychologists call the narcissistic false self, a fragile, artificial identity built entirely on external validation, because the real self, the authentic human being who should have developed in childhood, never did. Somewhere very early in their lives, usually through severe trauma, neglect, or conditional love, the narcissist learned a devastating lesson. Who they really are is not acceptable, not lovable, not enough. So they killed off that real self and built a fake one in its place, a grandiose, perfect, superior self that deserves admiration and special treatment. But here's the nightmare. That false self is not a person. It's a defense mechanism, a psychological fortress designed to protect a wounded child who is still hiding inside, terrified and alone. And because the false self isn't real, it needs constant fuel to stay alive. That fuel is called narcissistic supply. Attention, praise, envy, control, emotional reactions. The narcissist needs these things the way you need oxygen. Without them, the false self starts to crack, and beneath the cracks, there's nothing, just emptiness. This is why they can't be alone. This is why they can't handle criticism. This is why they rage when you challenge them. Not because they're angry at you, but because you've accidentally touched the void. And that void is the most terrifying thing a narcissist knows, because it's the truth they've been running from their entire lives. Think about what this means for you. When you were with the narcissist, you thought you were in a relationship. You thought there were two people in the room. There weren't. There was you, and there was a mirror that reflected back whatever you wanted to see, a mirror that studied you, learned your deepest desires, your insecurities, your unmet needs, and then performed the perfect partner to capture your attention. You fell in love with a reflection of yourself. That's why the love bombing felt so intense. That's why they seemed like your soulmate. They were showing you exactly what you wanted to see, but it wasn't real. It never was. And when the mirror shattered, when the mask slipped and you saw something cold and cruel underneath, you thought you'd finally seen the real narcissist. You hadn't. You'd seen the void, the emptiness where a person should have been. That's the scariest thing survivors of narcissistic abuse haunt. Not the rage, not the lies. That moment when you looked into their eyes and realized there was nobody home. That is the scariest thing about narcissists, not what they do to you, but what they are, or more accurately, what they aren't. They aren't capable of genuine love, not because they choose not to love you, but because love requires a self to do the loving. You can't love someone if you don't exist. They aren't capable of genuine remorse, not because they refuse to apologize, but because remorse requires a conscience, and a conscience requires a real self. They aren't capable of change, not because they're stubborn, but because you can't fix something that was never built. The house looks beautiful from the outside, but there's no foundation, there's no floor, there's no one living inside. This is why arguing with a narcissist is pointless. You're trying to reason with a person who isn't there. You're presenting facts to a defense mechanism. You're asking for empathy from a void. And the void can only reflect back what you project onto it. If you project anger, it reflects anger. If you project neediness, it reflects charm. If you project pain, it reflects indifference. Because there's no one inside to process anything real. This is also why the narcissist's worst fear isn't being hated, it's being ignored. When you hate them, you're still giving them fuel. You're still thinking about them. You're still providing supply. But when you ignore them, when you truly move on and stop caring, that's when the false self begins to starve. That's when the cracks appear. That's when the void starts to show. And that's why they'll keep trying to pull you back in. Not because they miss you. They can't miss you. Missing requires a self. But because they need the fuel only you can provide. You're not a person to them. You never were. You were a source of energy, a battery. And when the battery runs out, they find a new one. So what does this mean for you? It means closure isn't something a narcissist will ever give you. They can't. Closure requires honesty, accountability, and a genuine conversation between two real people. You aren't in a relationship with a real person. You were in a relationship with a psychological defense mechanism. You'll never get the apology you deserve. You'll never get the explanation you crave. You'll never get the moment of clarity where they finally see the damage they caused. Because seeing that damage would require them to see themselves. And they've spent a lifetime making sure that never happens. But here's the strange gift hidden inside this darkness. Once you truly understand what a narcissist is, once you see the void for what it is, you stop taking it personally. You realize their cruelty was never about you. Their manipulation was never about you. Their discard was never about you. You were just the most convenient fuel source at the time. It could have been anyone. It was always going to be someone. And that realization, painful as it is also the beginning of freedom. Because if it wasn't about you, then there's nothing wrong with you. You weren't too much. You weren't not enough. You were just standing too close to someone who feeds on light because they have none of their own. So look at the narcissist in your life, not with anger, not with hope, not with the desperate wish that they'll finally understand. Look at them with clarity. See the performance. See the mask. See the desperate, starving void beneath it all. And then, quietly, calmly, without drama or fanfare, walk away. Not because you hate them, but because you finally understand them. And once you understand them, you realize there was never anyone there to walk away from. If this hit home, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and in the comments, type "I see it," because today you finally saw what was always there. This is the way.